Hello, second time lucky. Welcome to Follow Everton. This is discussion on the breaking news that Everton have announced some new changes to the ownership structure at the club, and also I'll touch upon some of the news about Kevin Thelwell and look ahead to Everton's clash with Chelsea. So apologies. The first stream I was speaking to myself for about 3 minutes without realizing that the microphone wasn't working. It's a very expensive professional microphone. If you watch a lot of YouTube videos and podcasts, you'll have seen this sort of thing out there. It's just not working. So frustrating. And then I tried one of my old microphones, it's a condenser microphone that I use for music, and that was working. So yeah, really frustrating. But luckily I've got the headset as backup, so we can crack on. I'll start with Kevin Thelwell then. Obviously, he was leaving Everton at the end of the season, but now Everton have decided to announce on their own website that he's joining Glasgow Rangers as director of football. Good luck to him. I personally don't really care. I know Everton are completely rejigging things and are changing the sporting model. All that matters, I think, to us as fans is making sure we've got the right professionals in the right role, and can we identify the right players early. I think that is number one priority, a centre forward who's going to score 20 goals next season for Everton in the Premier League at Bramley-Moore and get us flying. But, you know, I don't know whether we have those people here at the moment. We've obviously got Angus Kinnear, who's just joined from Leeds, who's joining from Leeds, I should say, at the end of the season. And so yeah, he's got Leeds promoted and he's done very well there by all means. But how is that going to work moving forward at Everton? Who's coming in to help with this sporting model to help us progress? And certainly one thing that has already changed is the breaking news. It's quite exciting news, really. Of course, Everton are owned by the Friedkin Group, as most of you know. And yesterday they announced some changes to I think that Everton is owned by a group called Roundhouse Capital Holdings Limited. And basically Everton have been looking for investors to come on board to join the ownership group, bring experience and knowledge and money. The thing is, there's only so much having the money will do for us, because we have to generate our own revenue streams. It's not like investors or the Friedkin Group can suddenly go, oh, we're going to put in 100 million of our own money and buy the next Lukaku, for example. It doesn't work like that. You have to be sustainable. You have to make profit. You have to know what you're doing. So we have to invest in academy. We have to invest in scouting, get players in earlier, develop them, use the loan system well. More importantly, identify players for the first team for the right price. And of course, good sponsorship, good commercial, and just be a profitable club. You can't, it's not like 20 years ago, you can have a rich owner and he can just spend what he wants. It's not like that anymore, as you can see. So I don't know how much the benefit having these ultra wealthy billionaires will bring. I'm more looking at the knowledge that they can bring. And the first guy who they brought in, massive really, Christopher Sarafim, he's a multi-billionaire. He's the chairman of the global investment manager, Fayez Sarafim and Co. And he's joined the club's ownership group, Roundhouse Capital Holdings Limited. So don't quite have the ins and outs of that, but I wonder whether he's bought some sort of share holding in Roundhouse Capital. I'm surprised the Friedkin Group would dilute their shares so early, but I suppose if they've got a lot of cooks with a lot of money, a lot of experience, who can open a lot of avenues, then why not? I'd like to know what people think about this. So Everton went on to say that Mr. Sorofin brings 40 years worth of experience in investment, fund management and philanthropy to Everton and its ownership group, which further strengthens the club's financial base. He'll become a board observer. I think that means he's not on the board, but he watches what's going on. And the club remains under the control of the Friedkin Group. So how does this work? Why would he want to do this? He says, Mr. Sorofin, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to join the ownership group of Everton, a historic sporting institution with a very exciting future. I've known and admired the fine family for many years and look forward to working with Mark Watts. I think he's the executive chairman of the Friedkin Group and everyone Everton to help fulfill the huge potential on and off the pitch. The Friedkin Group chairman and CEO, Dan Friedkin, says Christopher Sorafim is someone who I've known and respected for many years. He brings experience, sound judgment, and wisdom to continue to drive the club forward in all areas. So, interesting to see the interesting to see that Everton have brought more investors in. But I think PSR is such a big thing here. We've got to find a solution to the stadium sponsorship, the naming rights. I don't really care what it's called, in all honesty. The first sponsorship deal is always going to be the most lucrative. The name sticks. I mean, everyone sees the Echo Arena as the Echo Arena in Liverpool, so no one calls it M&S Bank Arena or whatever. So I think the first name is really key. Could it be something Everton Stadium? You know, like the Toyota Everton Stadium or Sorafim Stadium. I don't know what it's going to be, but we need to try and make some money because it's only so many billionaires. We can have 20 billionaires, but if none of them could put money in because they can't invest because of PSR, then what's the good in that? Unless I think there could be something to do with Nelson Dock and the other docks and the surrounding area where Everton want to own and buy it up so they can build hotels and car parks and restaurants and all sorts of things that they can do, and houses even, and just develop that part of Liverpool, because it is an underdeveloped part of Liverpool compared to other parts. So that's Sorafim. Let's see what happens in due course with him. And then Everton today, out of nowhere, announced that NBA legend Jason Kidd has joined. So Everton Football Club tonight to announce the further addition to the club's ownership group. Jason Kidd, who's the head coach of NBA Dallas Mavericks, so he's a busy man, has joined Roundhouse Capital Holdings. Under what terms? Do we need to know? Should we know? He's a 10-time NBA All-Star, regarded as one of the best players of his generation. As a player, he won the 2000. I don't really care. I'll be honest. Basically, the bottom line is he has amazing experience and reputation in NBA. Two-time Olympic gold medal winner with the US national team in 2000, 2008. And he won the Western Conference Championship in 2024. So he's a very accomplished sportsman. Does he know anything about soccer? No, not that I can tell. Unless, am I missing something here? What does he know about the English game? What does he know about soccer? Or football, as we actually call it here in England. He said, I'm honoured to be joining Everton's ownership group at an important moment with the new stadium horizon and a bright future ahead. And Mark Watts says, I'm pleased to welcome Jason to our ownership group. He's one of NBA's greatest players and now a successful coach. His knowledge and winning mentality will be an incredible resource. Yeah, his winning mentality, his knowledge of football in England, what evidence is there of that? You could be a great tennis player, doesn't mean you know anything about football. He's a respected leader and household name for many sports fans, but he's not got a history of football. And listen, I don't really care at the end of the day. I trust the people that are running Everton, that they know what they're doing. I'm not into basketball. I'm not into American sports. In all honesty, we have Chad, part of the channel, a friend of ours. So, you know, he can comment more on this, but he may be a legend and a winner, Kevin, but what has he got to do with football in England and business? I mean, his career highlights, I'm just reading them now. They are outstanding. He's clearly a master of his sport, but it's basketball and this is football, and it's completely different. But I don't know a lot. I'm not gonna sit and talk about NBA, and maybe, you know, they're massive on basketball in America, but you know, we aren't here. Everton Tigers was our basketball team, and we were crap. I want to see what this guy has. He got any? Let's ask ChatGPT. His net worth is between 25 million and 50 million. Okay, so his net worth isn't going to do a lot. Maybe sponsorships and stuff. Jason Kidd business experience. Okay, let's have a look. So this is the information we probably wanted to know. Jason Kidd has significant business experience that extends beyond his NBA career. Investments in professional sports teams. Part owner of the Oakland Roots and Seoul at CS, and now he's joined Everton FC. Okay, well we know that. I want to know what he's done in the past. Part owner of Oakland Roots and Seoul Sports Club, including USL Championship and USLW League soccer teams. Okay, so he's got some experience as part owner in some soccer teams. He's got an interest in technology. He's a good coach. John, the Saudis probably don't know a lot about football, but they are worth hundreds of billions. So they can make things happen. Kevin's saying sports science. Interesting. Thank you for that. So that's the big news. Kevin Thelwell, we already knew he was going. He's joining Rangers as director of football. Everton haven't got anyone fulfilling that role. Apparently, we're looking for people to come in. We need it ASAP. We need to make transfer business in June. We need to get things done. We need to not burn bridges with players who are out of contract in case we can't get players in and we still may need them. I personally wouldn't keep anyone apart from Idrissa Gueye on the right wages and Alcaraz on a low fee. So we've just got to get business done early and we can't let this drag on. We can't let the sporting development side of things drag on long. This is really positive news about both of these guys. And I'm just giving you the facts. And my initial reaction is that it is positive, but Jason Kidd, he's not a soccer legend. Doesn't know anything about Everton, doesn't have a lot of business experience. So he's a name that isn't, particularly relevant to us. David, he's happy, pleased to see. Talking about Ancelotti in the comments. No, that's not going to happen. So let me just bear with me 1 sec. I'm still getting used to this camera, to be honest with you. Okay. What else was I going to talk about? Everton, Chelsea. So Chelsea, we talk about PSR, they get away with absolute murder. They're in 6th place at the moment. And they've played 33 games. They've won 16 games this season, so they have won a lot of games. But they've also drawn and lost a lot. 9 draws, 8 defeats, 57 points accrued. It's looking like Everton's tally of 72 points in 2013-14 would be more than enough, perhaps, for a top 3 finish this season. But that is because the standard of the Premier League is absolutely atrocious. Liverpool winning the league without really having to get out of first gear because they haven't been that good in most weeks. When your nearest challenger is Arsenal, they've drawn 3 out of the last 5 in a title run-in, including a 2-2 draw against Crystal Palace. It's poor. Man City have now suddenly come into some form. They've won 4 out of the last 5. They're absolutely flying. I think Everton versus Man City was so infuriating. I think we played the name, not the players they had. They had their lightweight midfield. They had players fading out of form and fitness, makeshift defence, and we were disappointing in many ways. We were good from set pieces from them, but we got robbed in the end. But you look at the rest of it, Newcastle have been very, very good in recent weeks. They lost the last game, but Villa, again, another team that I've won 4 out of the last 5. They've shot up into that position. But generally, you've looked at such an inconsistent league with not a lot of quality. The title race was over in November. The bottom 3 was wrapped up very, very early. Loads of dross in mid-table. Wolves are the team creeping up behind us with 5 wins in 5. Outstanding from former Everton manager Vitor Pereira, famously linked with the club at around the time of Rafa Benitez. But Everton, our form is poor. Just the 1 win in 8 games, I believe. 1 in the last 5, although an outstanding win against Nottingham Forest. You're in 4th now. And we face Chelsea, who've won 2 out of the last 5. So not much better than us, really. And Chelsea have really flattered to deceive. Really, they've spent a lot of money on players, huge wages, and they haven't quite reached the top levels. You know, you look at it, is the manager a top coach? I'm not so sure. They're in sixth place at the moment. They're looking for Champions League. They've got the motivation to beat us. They need to win. In fact, if they win and Forest and Newcastle lose or drop points, you know, Chelsea can creep into the top four, and it's actually top five this season that can get Champions League. Of course, the one year that Man City potentially drop out is 5 teams can get there. But Chelsea need to make things happen. Everton are completely safe. We don't need to win games. But what I would say is that every game is worth its weight in gold, because potentially finishing a place higher, every single place we finish is worth 1.5 million approximately. So 13th place would be, brilliant for us if we can achieve it. I think that's the max we could do. But realistically, I think with Wolves, the way they're going, I think they're going to overtake us. I don't think West Ham will. I don't think Man United and Spurs will either. For some reason, they just can't get out of first gear. But we're all hoping for a Tottenham win on Sunday, just for the banter, really, aren't we? Okay, Chelsea's injuries then. Wesley Fofana, he's out for the season. And then they've got some spurious players. Of course, Mudryk is suspended. And Gusto is out. But apart from that, there's not really any major injuries. Of course, Everton without Calvert-Lewin still. And the big one is we're still waiting on James Tarkowski, because I think that really does change a lot of elements for me in terms of who plays in that defence. I think naturally it's 13th place, John, would be brilliant for us, because we can't finish higher if you look at where we can finish. I'm just being realistic. I hate it, but it's about the best we can hope for. Why is it so dark? Bear with me. Increase the... So, are we going to go to Chelsea and win? Probably not. Our record at Stamford Bridge is appalling. Apart from a couple of draws, that we haven't had a lot of decent results. In fact, we tend to get battered there and crumble. I really hope we don't do that this weekend. They're really motivated. They need the Champions League. We fell apart to Man City late on. They're another side that, of course, going for Champions League. We're playing a lot of these Champions League sides. But then we've got Fulham, Ipswich, Southampton. You're expected to get positive results against them. So I suppose it wouldn't be the end of the world. Yeah, I've got a ring light. Should we see if that... It's just because of this camera is a mirrorless camera. So it's like a professional camera. And I think it's one of those things, if you use it well, your picture can be amazing. But if you don't know what you're doing, like me, it can be a nightmare. But I think this aesthetic is great. The blurred background, although there's nothing really of interest in that background at the moment, and the sharpness, I'm really quite happy with it. But I'm not happy with that microphone. I need to sort that after this. So in terms of Tarkowski then, so that's the big injury we need to consider. If he's out, I think it's simple for me. The way I look at it is, look, we've got to win the games now to finish up high as the league as possible, to be attractive for new signings, etc., etc. But who's going to be here next season? Well, Patterson, shit. Let's just get it into our heads. If he was any good, he'd have been playing. He's a specialist right back, and he can't get in the team, and he's been inconsistent for years, and he's a wet lettuce defensively. And he for me, I would sell him in the summer without a doubt, and I'd release Coleman and I'd release Ashley Young, and I'd give Coleman 10 minutes against Southampton at the end. If we're winning, I don't think the club are going to show much sentiment to anyone, and rightly so. But I don't think any of the three right backs we've got at the club will be here next season. Young, Coleman, or Patterson. James Garner, I think he will be. And James Garner could play at right back, but because I want players that are going to be involved who've got a future at the club. But at the same time, we need to win games now. So what's going to put us in the best stead to win? Well, can move Jake O'Brien across into midfield, but then into centre back. But he's never played there, so someone has to come in at right back. It's got to be Patterson, Young, or Coleman. None of them would give me that confidence, but Young has probably got the nod, in fairness, over all of them to just do a job at right back for a few games. And then, I mean, that's up to David Moyes. If he wants like for like, he's not going to bring in Patterson because Patterson wants to bomb on and cause problems going the other way. But you're shifting O'Brien into a position he's never played. Then you're bringing a right back in against a team that have very good wingers. So your only other option is you put Michael Keane at centre half. And for me, this is just not an option. This guy has been stealing a living off us since 2020 when Ancelotti gave him a new contract on £90,000 a week. And he's a disaster. Sorry to say, he's just a disaster. When he came on against Manchester City, I was fuming. I knew that was it. The guy can't defend. It's a centre back with loads of experience. He was completely out of his depth. He was ball watching for the goal. He got a yellow card with his first touch. He's nowhere near it. So I wouldn't be playing Michael Keane. Yeah, he's a nice guy, but I would just wouldn't bother. So I am going to put Jake O'Brien into midfield, and then I think I just bring Ashley Young, and I think that's the safest way of doing it. I can't see an alternative. James Garner at right back doesn't work because you're losing that midfield bite, and your only other option is Tim Bunham, who in recent times, he's poor, he's disciplined defensively, is poor. So could you put Dwight McNeil in midfield, maybe? Probably not central midfield. I'm not sure what the option is. I'll just give you Nathan Patterson's statistics then, because Peter, a friend of the show, he's commenting he's not happy with what I've said about Patterson, but let me look at the last 3 years. It's the debate for Chelsea, really, as we know who's going to play. But let's have a look at, his availability this season. He was injured for the first 4 games this year with a thigh problem. Then he was not in the squad for 3 matches, Leicester, Crystal Palace, at Newcastle, and wasn't injured. And then he was on the bench between match day 8 and match day 17. He came off the bench for 17 minutes in a 4-0 defeat at Old Trafford, which was ridiculous, to be honest. And then he played 1 minute at right back against Man City away at the end. And then he didn't get in the squad for a couple of weeks, was on the bench against Villa. And then he made some very small appearances. Spurs at home, Brighton away in the win, Leicester at home as well, 2 minutes. And then he had a small hamstring injury out for 3 weeks, and then he's been on the bench. So he's been available. He's been available pretty much all season since match day 8, since October. We're now in April, Peter. He's not playing the games. He's out of favour. He's not rated. There's a reason for this. And that is because he's clearly not that good. I'm going to go back to the season before, which was 23-24. Again, this is debating about Nathan Patterson, whether he should play for James Tarkowski and O'Brien in. Apart from the start of the season, again, he was out for 7 match days until October. And then he was available between match day 8, Ipswich, and... Sorry, 1 second. I think I'm cocked up there, so I'm just going to go back to this. 22, 23. So yeah, he started the season at right back. So last season, he did start at right back under Dyche, and we played Fulham, lost. We played Villa, lost. We played Wolves, lost. We drew with Sheffield United. He played right back. He played 4 games, 90 minutes. We didn't win a match. Then he played right back against Arsenal for 3 minutes. 3 minutes he lost. Then he was on the bench. And then it was sporadic after that. He was available between match day 7 and 13. By the looks of it, he played in those 6 games. He played less than 180 minutes, so he didn't play the equivalent of more than two. In two of those games, he came on for 1 minute at the end and 17 minutes. He must be getting some sort of appearance fee. And then he started between match day 15 and 20. We won 3 and lost 3. And then he was on the bench for 10 weeks, 11 weeks. And then he was injured for the rest of the season. This is not a consistent player. This is not a player who's shown he can stay fit. This is not a player who can show anything consistency. Even the season before, he was not in the squad between match day 20 and 29, and he wasn't injured. Between match day 14 and 19, he played 90 minutes twice. At the end of the season, between match day 30 and 38, he played 90 minutes twice. So I appreciate you, Peter, but I respectfully disagree that this guy's got a future at Everton. Peter, why do you need all the all caps? I'm still listening to you. Get rid of him and start bringing in a proper right back. Let's start again next season. But right now, I don't think Patterson is an option. I think Moyes might give him a go because he's Scottish, see how he gets on. Give him a couple of matches. I think if he plays against Chelsea, he'll get run ragged. Michael Keane will get run ragged. The thing that annoyed me against Man City even more is Michael Keane. Man City don't play with a centre forward. They didn't have Haaland. We didn't need someone to man mark a Haaland. We should have brought, it was a wrong substitution. We should have brought someone who can cope with their smaller mobile players and track runners and do the basics. It's terrible from David Moyes. It really was. And if you're watching it, Moyes, I love you, but absolutely shocking. Tactically wrong. Anyway, guys, I've got to wrap things up now. I'm just going to very briefly give you my team. Brozier versus Beto one's terrible because Beto can't press and Brozier can't play anyway. So it's Beto. Okay. In behind, very simple. Your job, running behind Chelsea's defence and try and score when they overcommit players. I don't think he's going to get a sniff. Chelsea play a high line and keep the ball well. Carlos Alcaraz in behind him. It'll be Decore. So I don't know why I'm bothering. But I'd go Beto and Alcaraz. Alcaraz, you've got one job, get the ball, get it in behind, break through the lines. Ndiaye on the left. McNeil on the right. I don't want to play Jack Harrison. He's going at the end of the season back to Leeds. He's not available on a free loan next season. He's got one goal all year, no assists. What is the point? Yeah, he's basically playing right back for us. Midfield then, Garner and Garner. And my defence is Mikolenko, Jared Branthwaite, Tarkowski if fit, O'Brien. And if Tarkowski's not fit, I'm going with Jake O'Brien and Ashley Young. And I think we'll lose 2-0. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And I'll see you very soon.